All right, now in a move to tackle the issue of insecurity and ritual-related crimes, the state government has introduced a new executive bill for, regulating spiritualists and some spiritual issues in the state and also in the southeast. So we are going to be looking at regulating spiritual matters in the southeast, and we have Mazi Nnaemeka Anichukwu. He's a peace and conflict resolution expert and a cultural scholar to do justice to this topic. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Now, this issue of spiritual matters in the state and in the southeast, why do you think that, the government is proposing a bill to regulate their activities?
From my own personal perspective, which I am convinced is correct, is that the government of the state under the competent leadership of Dr. Barrister Peter Ndubisimba is intervening in spiritual processes in this state under his realm of power, because there is a noticeable abuse. When I talk of abuse, abnormal use of spiritual practices to perpetrate evil in this state. There has been a founded or dictated or validated claims or facts to prove that a lot of people, a lot of spiritual practitioners or spiritualists, prophets, DBS, Sezenwany, chief priests, seers, native doctors, call them, who participate in extrasensory activities in the state, Ndibo, Kalamaro, Kalamo, are using it to facilitate grievous or heinous crimes, inhuman crimes, humongous crimes that is condemnable before God's ancestors and men of good conscience. And as the head of the government, the state governor, good governance ensure that there is fairness, freedom, because where there is no freedom, people cannot prosper. You cannot go on with your economic activities or political activities or whatever activities. The core base of democracy is good governance. So where there is no freedom, there is no peace. So I'm quite convinced that the government of Enugu State has taken proper step and legitimate step to curb these spiritualist excesses in the state, because those spiritualists have delved away from the core cause for which they were mandated by gods and ancestors.
But why have they deviated so much? Because most of their practices are also part of the traditional religion. So why does it look like they have crossed the line?
When you say that these things is societal values, these disgruntled or distorted societal values affects politics, it affects churches, affects records. Whatever I do now, it's a product of my family background. So whatever you call it, a policeman or a politician or a barrister or a minister, a commissioner or governor, whatever a person is doing, it's a product of societal values. Because the current societal values revolves around great wealth, great power, no matter how you get it. And you know that I want to talk about societal values. When you talk about ritual killings, which is connected to these evil or malevolent practitioners of spiritual activities in the state or in the region, is connected to what I call the trinity of evils, pronged or hinged on politics, illicit wealth, and the inordinate quest to acquire strange power to perform miracles. Because those in politics are Also, many of them, many people are not worthy to win elections. Sometimes they go into some evil or deep occultic concoctions or manipulations that might involve using human being to activate certain strange powers in the spiritual realm so that they win another election at all time, at all costs. Some people are not destined to make wealth at that particular time, because in Igbo cosmology, whatever you get in life is what you achieve, your guardian angel has given it to you. And whatever you get in life, even if as a lady now, if you marry somebody whom your child has not given to you, though it looks very rosy now, but you will suffer through it, because your chi does not allow you, has not given you permission to marry that person according to the time of your life. Have you seen it? So, and if you come to strange wealth, some people want to become a billionaires at the age of 30, 25. They tell me the kind of work that person is doing or kind of business that person is doing. Have you seen it? And when they make that wealth, the churches who ought to be the holy assemblies, the traditional shrines, like in my town, no monasteries, we have these chief priests normally should not promote somebody who has gotten wealth through evil means. Even churches, if you are not wealthy or politically powerful, you are not giving frontiers in the churches. So society, I call it privatization of evil. And coming to what I said, trinity of humongous evil. I say politics, illicit wealth, and quest to get strange power. And talking of getting strange power is when you pray, a lot of people are shifting from Christianity because they promise a lot of people, those who are preaching Christianity, they tell you that immediately you accept Jesus Christ, your turmoil, your troubles are over. For instance, as a lady now, when you accept Jesus, you marry an Oyemongo, you marry a governor. But this is not what Christ preached. Christ said that when you accept him, that's when your trouble starts. Because when you accept Christ, you live your life around truths. And whenever you live your life around truths, people will trouble you. There will be tribulations. But a lot of the preachers tell you that when you accept Christ, you become prosperous. So all these things are, all I'm saying that what I've seen today in traditional circles, in the spiritual circles, spiritualism and so on, is a product of societal values.
Yes.
The distorted societal values, because all things revolve around wealth, power.
So now, what do you think that conflicts may arise from this? Because some people, it might seem as if they are restricting their right to freedom of religion if this bill goes through, you know, like the citizens' constitutional rights to freedom or their traditional belief system.
Excellent. So,
you know, when there is a regulation of their activities, do you think that this might cause a potential conflict?
The core function of government is to guarantee human freedom. Because freedom without restriction is bondage. Once you have freedom, without restriction, without sanctions, without rules, it means anarchy. So, only senseless or irrational persons would go against what government is doing. Because government is discharging their core functions to safeguard the welfare of the people. The government has seen that there is multiple or multidimensional perpetuation and establishment of evil occult colleges in society. Those spiritualists are using it to facilitate grievous crimes. For instance, there's a kind of magical power you have now. If I want to come into this studio, I'll come into this studio without opening this door. I'll come in. So then, if I commit that crime and the law enforcement agents want to catch me, I will just vanish. So any person who is facilitating such thing as a spiritualist is a big devil in the society under the guise of a spiritualist or a prophet. So government want to stop to drastically curb the activities of the malevolent spiritualists, because there are benevolent spiritualists. In English, it's called white witches. There are dark black witches, because the Europeans have been making that anything black is evil. So now, those in the spiritual realm, there are those who are fighting for good, and those who are fighting against evil. There are some who are fighting against good. So the government is now putting in place regulatory measures, mechanisms to check the fallen angels of the traditional religion.
But how would they know those who? How would they distinguish between those who are legitimate and those who are, criminals?
By their fruits we shall know them. By their fruits we shall know them. For instance, I said it earlier on that any person who prepares dangerous charms so that when you go on armed robbery, you escape, he is not serving the gods, the holy deities and ancestors of Africa or Igbo land. Because the holy deities and ancestors eschew abhor evil. They don't believe in mercy and grace of Jesus Christ. Somebody who is a Christian can even condone, hoping that grace and mercy will free that person. Those who practice pure traditional religion cannot no God or deity or ancestor. My grandfather, I'm from no Monatese. I'm from Obunegu no Monatese. You cannot go to Alpha now. Then my grandfather will tell me, go and do this and do this, and make it so that can commit armed robbery and go. Because the man is not evil, he's a saint. He's a saint. I mean, so what I'm saying is that this is we are talking of is no, they are just doing their selfish, bidding their selfish interests. It's not at all in line with the pristine cultures of our land. And let me remind you, all these people perambulating, going here and there, positioning themselves as angels of light, angels of darkness. So, any person who wants to see good must sow good.
All right, and now in this bill, there is this move to...
And let me remind you, so no person, the traditional religion, the DBS, there's the one. The genuine is the one, yes, or DBS, or the spiritualists, should clap for the government of the state, of the region. Have you seen it? They clap because now the government wants to separate them from the evil ones. Because all of them have been categorized, stereotypism, prejudice, that all of them are evil. So the current mechanism used by government is to separate the grain from the chaff, so that they will know through DBS and through Ezenwany or through spiritualists. So any person who is saying they are hunting them, maybe the person is on the dark side. So, and even the general society should clap for the government, should applaud the government, because government wants them to be free. You see the rate of kidnapping astronomically rising everywhere. From here, moving from here out of this studio to just a mile, it's a risk. Because some people will kidnap you, even when the security agents stop them on the road, they will not see you. Because of the kind of charm, automobile, they possess. Because they have the spiritual weapons, they have the strong automobile. Have you seen it? So that when a DSS sees them, or the policeman will be blind, unless the policeman who is also Ogaragidi, who is strong too.
All right.
So government is doing something so that we have public welfare, so that we can prosper. You cannot prosper under bondage, under evils. So,
right.
And when you don't prosper, you become poor. And when you become poor, you become a living witch.
Now, as I wanted to ask earlier, talking about still on the bill, now part of the idea is for these native doctors and these spiritualists to register with the state ministries.
Good.
Now, how feasible is it for all of them across all the rural communities to get registered?
It's possible. It depends on the political will of the governor and the other requisite or necessary government agencies designated for such purposes or such duties. Because it's one thing for the governor to give order. It's one thing for those who are giving the orders to carry it according to the mind of the governor or the state government. Have you seen? So, if the people who are designated for this have the will, if you come to my town, no Monates, you can count the DBS there. You can get your data. If you are sincere, if there's no corruption. But if there is corruption, somebody will come there and they know that this person is practicing without registration. and we just walk over the person will bribe them, and they go. So it's one thing for the government to be sincere. It's another thing for those who are given those duties to be sincere too. Because unless the executive, those who are executing those modalities or mechanisms to check this registration and the evil DBS and this and prophets are sincere. Once they are sincere, I'm telling you that they can get the data, your name, your place, where the location you are practicing. They can track you anytime, your phone number. They can monitor you. So all these things boils down to the sincerity of the apparatus used in regulating these spiritual activities in the state.
Okay, but do you think that the state government is actually equipped enough with enough manpower to see through to the end of it and make sure that there is uniformity and everybody is complying to this thing?
Government, by virtue of its power, is capable. It has the capacity and capability to do whatever they want to do. Or the fund is there. Even when there's no fund, they can borrow. Government stands a big chance to borrow even they don't have fund. So, the citizens' welfare being their prime priority, there's no reason, there's no excuse to say that they don't have the power, the manpower. There's a ministry or charged with these activities, or agency or government department charged with this activity. There are workers there who are being paid. If there is a need for to employ others, they can employ them and retrain them, and pay them adequately and provide the necessary logistics for them to operate. The computers, the vehicles, and what in this 21st century, everything is possible. Almost all things are possible through science and technology. So, unless the government don't want to go all out to do whatever they want to do, they give excuses. But when they are out to do it, they can do it. And the necessary mechanisms, the necessary apparatus to do it is there. Human resources, material resources, scientific resources, surveillance, investigations, and the DSS and the police and other security agencies, they have what it takes to get what they need and place this society on a peaceful note, so that people can prosper. Because let me tell you the truth, once there are dangerous activities around this state, academic activities will be grounded to health. And once you ground or you puncture economic activities, it moves towards poverty. That's what we call economic democracy. Economic democracy is a situation whereby the economic dividend of democracy is totally activated and established for the people to prosper. Once you don't prosper, poverty comes in. Poverty is not a product of, it's not a rocket science, it's not a magic. Poverty is a situation whereby you are not given the environment to prosper. If you have a light now and you want to work as a welder, there are kidnappers and robbery everywhere. You go inside your house to stay. How can you productive people to buy your services or products for you to have the money to train your children and build your house? And what poverty sets in, it means there is multidimensional evil coming in. So the core function of government is to provide the peace necessary for progress and stoppage of poverty in the land. Because poverty is more deadly than the devil.
Yes. Now, aside from the spiritualists as well, this bill also covers even the forest areas, because it's often used by kidnappers and armed groups as well, and even some of these some of these spiritualists. Now, what impact do you think that this bill will have when it comes to the forest? Because we also have local farmers who use this forest. We have hunters who depend on these forest lands. So what impact will it have, when it comes to the forest or the camps in the forest?
When you look at the bill, you see that one section of the bill says, whenever it is discovered that a forest or a property is used to perpetrate evil, the government will clamp down on it. So, any forest that is not used to facilitate crimes, they have no problem. The forest and properties or buildings that have problems are those who are used to facilitate these heinous crimes. So, government has not said that all forests should be wiped out all properties should be wiped out. The government and the bills are targeting those who use, they want to outlaw the use of any property or forest to facilitate crimes, heinous crimes. And let me tell you the truth. The Igwes, the town union, the natives, the indigenous of any town know. For instance, in my town, no monateze. There is Umwene, Emama, Obunego. We know ourselves. So whatever is happening in no monateze, we know. And if we want to release vital information to the government, we can release it to the government. And any forest that is used there to perpetrate evil, the indigenous of that town, they know. And if they leave it like that, it's for their own doom, because government will do what they can do. If you allow your forest or your building to be used to perpetrate or facilitate crime, you will taste that evil before it goes outside, because charity begins at home. Likewise, evil begins at home.
All right, now very quickly, because we don't have enough time. Now, do you think that the fines and the prison terms that are aligned in the bill can go far enough to actually deter ritual-related crime, or do you think what effect do you think that will have?
It's proper. There's a way it says the place says 5 million fine. Sometimes no option of fine. 5 million is not a small money. There's a way it says there's a place that says 10 million naira. So those sections the difference mechanism, the amount of money or jail time. There's one we said no jail time. Once you are gotten your property, no jail. So 5 million, 10 million, and the jail time is enough to deter those evil, because once evil is not punished, that evil will continue. So what I'm saying is that the evil, the deterrence measure to check these evils is commensurate with what it takes to stop them and put this society in place.
All right, thank you so much, Mazi Nnaemeka Anichukwu, for your time and your conversation this morning. Thank you. All right, the morning show will be right back. Stay with us.
See Nature TV. News in your pocket.